All right, guys, so today we are moving on from the o'clocks to our next one, which is the half hour. Okay, so we talked about the hour, the o'clock, and now we are moving on to half hour increments because it's a little bit easier that way. So basically, what happens is there are 60 minutes in an hour. So between, let's say like 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, this minute hand will start at the 12 and go all the way around until it gets back up to the 12. And then it will be 2 o'clock and so on and so on. So as your minute hand is moving around the clock, your hour hand is actually moving a little bit too. So when you are halfway through an hour, so that's 30 minutes, when you're halfway through an hour, your hour hand is going to be halfway in between this hour and the next hour. So right now, this clock is showing that it's in the 4 o'clock hour, but it's working its way over to the 5. Do you see that? And that's a difficult concept. Every year I have kids who struggle with that. It's just going to take time. So you need to remember that it's starting with the one that comes first and working its way over to this one. So although it's in between the 4 and the 5, well, Mrs. Brown, which one do I pick? And a lot of times I'll have kids pick the wrong one. Always remember, you're in the 4 o'clock hour and it's working its way to 5 o'clock, but it's not quite there yet, okay? So you're always going to pick the number in front, okay? The number that comes first. So in this case, it is 4, okay? Because it's not quite at the 5 yet. And then my minute hand today, instead of it being on the 12, it's on the 6. The 6 represents 30, okay? So if there are 60 minutes in an hour, half of 60 is 30. So halfway there is 30 minutes. And now you might be thinking, Mrs. Brown, why does the 12 stand for 0 or o'clock or 0? And the 6 stands for 30. Where are you coming up with these numbers? Well, I'll show you. The numbers that are on your clock, to figure out the minutes, you can count by 5s. So up here, we're going to start at 0. The 1 stands for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, you may have noticed on my clock in our classroom, I have little frogs that are all around it. I wish I had a picture of it, but I don't. You may have noticed those frogs at some point this year and wondered what they meant. Well, they're little helpers for you. So this one here will say 15. This one over here will say 20. This one will say 25 to help you remember what those numbers stand for. And for a while, trust me, you're going to have to stop and figure it out. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And that's okay. That is part of learning. You're going to have to do it. But for today, all you need to know is that the 6 stands for 30, okay? So that's why it stands for 30. But all you need to know is that the 6 stands for 30 today. All right, so now let's move on to this one. My hour hand is pointing in between the 1 and the 2. So remember, that means that it's in the 1 o'clock hour, but it hasn't quite made it to 2 yet. So we're going to use the number 1 because we are not at 2 yet. And the minute hand is on the 6, so that stands for 30. Down here, my hour hand is in between the 10 and the 11. It has not quite gotten to the 11 yet. That means that it's in the 10 o'clock hour. So we're going to use the 10. And again, my minute hand is on the 6. So we're going to say 10:30. Okay. And then my last one, it's in between the 7 and the 8. So that means it's working its way through the 7 o'clock hour, but it's not quite 8 yet. So we're going to use the 7. And again, the minute hand is on the 6, so we'll use 30, okay? And then once it does get through that next half hour, it will become 8. You're gonna need that for your challenge problem today. Okay, so today you are on page 538 and 539. And I'm just gonna go over them with you really quick. So it says, they're starting you slow. The hour hand is in between the, and you'll look over here. Take a look at where that hour hand is. It's in between the 4 and the 5. So you'll write that there. And the minute hand is on the, whatever it's on, okay? And then you'll write the time in the digital clock. Over here, you have analog clocks. And you have to write what the time is in the digital one. Over here, you have more patterns that you have to find the missing times. And then down here, you have a challenge problem. I'll read it to you. It says, Carlos, you're famous. Carlos plays basketball for 30 minutes each day. So that's a half hour, okay? He always starts playing at 1/2 an hour. So that means whatever 30, okay? So maybe he starts at 10:30 or 12:30 or 1:30, okay? That's what that means. Right times he might start and stop playing basketball. So if he starts at 12:30, what time would he end if he plays for a half hour? Okay, you guys are gonna do great. I'll see you later.